weird, fun ideas for a game. This little doohickey jiggy here, this is a tube that goes straight into the ground, and it comes out right there. And if you speak it to one end, you'll definitely hear it in the other. It's probably just a single pipe going here to there. In old mansions, they use a similar method of communication to speak to the servants and potential people in gathering rooms. I need to figure out how to rig up a recording rig to set it up either on that one or that one. And I'm going to record myself saying specific audio lines.
Deep in the African safari.
It's been a long day. Don't you just love it when shit starts like that? So you may notice that we have a little tiny ghost with a big nose and a fez. That's the first appearance of Fezzy. There he is, Fezzy the ghost. So the rooms are transitioning very nicely. The cameras, I mean. It doesn't appear like there's much of a difference, but trust me, there's actually something really cool happening right now, and I'll show you. Boom! Here's the difference. This is a new part of my camera system that I'm referring to as the adaptive camera. The reason why it's adaptive is because, well, each and every single one of these boxes are a separate entity of the same object. This is a 1 and a 2 and a 3. They're the same object, and as long as they are touching, they are read as the exact same object, the exact same whole. So let me show you what that means. Oh, nothing different. Oh, what's going on? Okay, and then, wait a minute. What's going on here? Oh my god! It's a giant T intersection! And because they're touching each other, they're registered as the same room. So, it's going to create this situation. So I can make long, expansive hallways with T intersections, and it won't cause a huge problem. I can also put them at a diagonal. There is an issue that I don't know how to overcome just yet, but you may notice that the camera isn't locked to strictly the bounds in here, and I'm not exactly sure how to solve that. As it is right now, because of the way the camera is set up, you can actually go down there as long as there is a camera box far enough down. Because this is here, this is being able to be seen. So you can use, it's the right direction, but we need to fine tune it, big time. Oh, shit. The idea is, let's look at this from, the standpoint of Luigi's Mansion. Luigi's Mansion, you go up the staircase, you get the key, you go down, and you go into a giant hallway that has just a bunch of shit going on, right? And your camera is locked to the inside of that area, except for in a 3D game, the camera isn't strictly locked, because you can actually have the camera go behind objects and inside objects and shit like that. And my system, the way it's set up, I'm getting close, but little by little. In fact, you may notice that character I mentioned prior, Fezzy the Ghost. I am replacing the current setup for the camera, and I made a character to represent that. I'm referring to this as the adaptive ghost camera, and the inspiration comes from Mario 64, where a Lakitu followed you around, and the camera was the Lakitu. So we're going to be doing that next. This is very difficult. And it's probably not even appearing like anything's changed. Once again, this is what coding looks like. Everything appears to be normal on the surface, but there's shit happening underneath. Probably glitches up the wazoo. That's okay, the game still functions. Right! Okay, so what is the problem? I'm trying to get the camera. The code I have is not functioning properly. The camera is supposed to be following the ghost, and the ghost is supposed to be following the player. And the reason why it's set up like that is so I can move the camera freely. I have detached the collision data from the player, separating it into animation, collision, and now I'm separating it into animation, collision, and camera. And let's not even talk about the invisible duck, the INIT object, which is currently spawned right next to the ghost. I have created a opaque version of it so it doesn't appear, but it's there. It's there. I think it'd be kind of cute to have the duck follow as well, but it wouldn't matter. It doesn't appear anywhere. So yeah, back to it. Coding, fun. Part of the morning. Getting rid of the redundant code! Alright, good morning. Sorry, my voice is a little weird. I'm not used to talking. I don't talk a lot when I'm alone, so whatever. So right here, in the step event for the camera, which is just called OBJ camera, I have a code that is gathering the information for camera focus. It is also setting it up. It exists, camera focus exists, var approximately camera press focus XY. So, okay. In a nutshell, what this does is it checks to see if there is a specific object that I'm choosing to focus on. So right here it says that. Then in this side of the code, I'm really terrible at explaining code. Excuse me. In here, this right here is what you set it as. I reset it to follow the object camera. So sadly yesterday we had to go back to a previous save, and the ghost is no longer with us. So let's go ahead and run and see what happens. I know what happens because I already did this. But so the camera is spawned right next to the player, right? Like I said, we need to go back to a previous version. The origin needs to be set to the perfect middle. But now, if you notice, we walk away, and the camera no longer follows the player. That's because the camera is set to follow the camera. Like, the view is set to follow the camera. See, that's where things get confusing to explain, because it's like, what am I actually saying? So, the bounding view is set to follow that. If I move that, then the camera will move. A little bit of a more visual explanation that isn't code-based. This represents the player, right? This represents the collision data, and this represents the camera. Right now, when the player moves, the camera stays stationary. That's a problem. The camera is supposed to do something like this. The player moves, and then the camera slowly goes into position. Now, I can't show you with both hands what's supposed to be happening, but, here, let me just show you why. Drop the phone. Hang on, let me, if I can zoom out. There, you're sitting on my chocolate milk. So, at the moment, when the player moves, the camera is supposed to have, like, this kind of control. Like, it's supposed to be following the player really super closely, within, like, a radius. This invisible circle is being, I haven't set it up yet, but it's going to be detected whenever the player moves. The camera then goes to here, but it never goes outside of here. And then the moment that the player stops, the camera goes there. But it's going to be really super close, so it's going to be more like this. Like, they're going to be super close together at all times. And the reason why is because when the player collides with a collision box, what's supposed to happen is this collision box then tells the camera to take the view and move it to where it's relevant or needed. So, let's say monster appears on the camera, right? The monster appears, and I'm going to have it so that the moment that the monster is within the same camera box as the player, for the first couple of times, it's going to roar, stand there and roar, but then it's going to spawn a box on top of the player, and it's going to collide with the player, and then that's going to tell the camera to zip over here and look at the monster. Then, after 3 seconds or so, then it goes right back to the player, and the collision box for that event goes away. So what's most likely going to happen is, if instance, hang on a second, make sure I'm doing this right. If instance equals true, maybe that's wrong. Generic name monster. Then we need to detect for it in a camera. Let's see, how do I do that? Shit, fuck. One second, I gotta think. Okay, it should probably look like something like this. The variable is the player box, or like where the player is, right? The camera. So var player, this is just me making code up, so I don't actually have it set up yet. Var player box equals instance player obj collision. I'm just gonna call it call to make it simple. Var player, and then variable this box. I'm labeling this like really stupidly. Like I'm not gonna, like, this is just me fucking around with code. Instance place. Wait, I forgot the, did I put, nope, there's the equal right there. And then like that needs a x, y position where the object camera, it's cam box. The cam box is the radius that is stretchable inside rooms, where the moment that the player walks into it, you are restricted to the confines of the box. And then like it's gonna need some kind of comparative code. So that's this is me writing down the compare box. This is the separation of this. And then if player, this looks like Unabomber shit. Box. If player box, we need to check it, equals this, sorry for my voice, this box, new name needed, definitely. I hate this box. This one right here, like I don't even know how to draw them properly. It's like an and sign, bleh, so it's like an and. I don't exactly understand that. 1 second. Okay, so it literally just means and. I thought it meant something different. Like, so like, looking at my keyboard to see if I can draw this right. It's number 7. What the fuck is that? And percent. So this equals and. So, like, if I was to write OBJ blowjob, and then I wrote ampersand, this is saying this object and obj titty fuck. Now it's checking for both of these at the same time. So if I was to go if this equals give me a second, what should I equals this box? Let's just keep it to the code. This box, boop, this box, and then the player box, fucking, and the player box, so just, and this thing, and the player box, then it's going to equal no one. And then this goes like this, close it up. Let's see, player, where's player box? Oh wait, that's right, I replaced that. This statement starts here. There we go. Doesn't that make sense? Good news, everyone. We're heading in the right direction. So as of right now, the camera is following the player. The problem is that when the player stops, the camera isn't going into the player. Like, the idea is that it's a close follow at all times. I like how the easing is working. My god, English is no good. Things are functioning the same as they did when the camera was the player, and now the camera is instead the object that's following the player. Kinda creepy looking. I need to make that fix. Oops, sorry. Yeah, things are working out pretty good. So right here, the player is about to go into the next room, and the player object collision is what's telling the camera where to go next. And that's good. So the idea is, because the camera is no longer following the player strictly, now the camera can now be taken and moved freely. Meaning that if an item or something appears on the screen and I want your attention to be drawn to that, then you go and back. Alright, progress. Good news, everyone! I really want to watch Futurama. Sorry. Okay, there it goes. So I still need to adjust a few things. In my mind, the effect of it moving to the player's sprite origin is working out pretty good. Like, it's actually working out really freaking good. I like it a lot, in fact. The thing is like, the moment you start moving, it snaps to you a little bit slowly, and that's going to cause some issues when you're I think it's going to cause some issues when you're moving around and you have to navigate a lot of stuff at once. At all times, the camera object is maintaining a very specific distance because I have programmed a specific radius around the player. Specifically, sorry, it is being programmed to follow the player within 64 pixels at all time. This is being done like for every single frame that the player moves, it's being detected. And so the camera is acting almost exactly the way I want it to. Like, you exit one room, go to the next, and things work perfectly fine. And it also has the redundancy fixes, so if you exit a camera, you won't crash the game, which means that I can create incredibly large areas if I want to, and just have it set as a normal camera. Which means that, like, if I wanted to, I could just use a normal view in GameMaker. Like, there's a thing called viewports in GameMaker, which this makes so much of what we're talking about confusing when I try to relay the information to you. So, what you're looking at is called a viewport. And right now, my code is actually overwriting the current viewport as long as you are inside of the camera collision room boxes, or what I'm referring to as camera rooms. So every single camera room can be adjusted for any size, and I even programmed one where I can have multiple instances of the same object camera interacting with each other, and they act as one entire camera, which will allow me to make T intersections. Really awesome. So the reason why we've separated the camera from the player is so that when we go up to something and we interact with it, like this hole in the wall, oh my god, the camera will then be taken from the player and move to the next room to show you what's going on. Excuse me. This will maintain the player's position. So, let's say a monster is out here in this room, right? And he's slowly moving towards the player, right? So the entire time that that's happening, you look in this room and it goes to the next room over, showing you what's inside that room. The monster is still moving towards the player's collision, and so you're looking at this room, but you're not in this room. Like, you're just seeing what's in this room, and you hear a monster getting close to you. Like, the camera is not going to, this is going to be a nightmare in the future, but the idea that I have is that the sound of monsters get louder as you get closer to them. Like, they have a normal bass audio level that won't pierce your fucking ears and rip your soul out. But if the monster is further away, it gets quieter. And that's going to be a nightmare to program. I'm going to watch a lot of fucking videos on that shit. A lot of fucking videos, and I'm going to have to, like, ask some questions in forums, because I don't know what that's called, but in old Rare games, there used to be something like that. I don't know what they called it, though. Like, you'd get close to a box, and then all of a sudden the music would add, like, a boxy drum beat to what you're currently listening to. So it'd go dun 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 dun. Then you get, like, close to the box, and it goes dun 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 dun, like that, right? And then, like, if you got close to a skeleton, it'd go dun 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 like that, like shit like that. That's not the same audio effect that I want. Specifically, like, the monster is, like, always going to be near you, but I want you to feel like the monster is following you. That's the point of this. The reason why I'm working so hard on this camera system is because I want the playing field, the board, to be these large maps where you are constantly being followed. I will have certain areas as safe zones, so the monster can never go near there, and if it can't go where you are, then it loses track of where you are completely, and you're safe, and the monster just goes and buggers off. Later on, so, like, right now, I feel like I'm revealing too much. So let's imagine this carton. Sorry, the stupidity of it makes me laugh. Let's imagine that this carton represents the castle. And you see this part right here where it says almond breeze, and it shows this blue butt? This is the part that's above ground. You see where it says chocolate and it shows my nuts? This is below the ground. Right now, the player is in the below the ground area. As you proceed through the game, you will go into different sections. So, you know what? I actually have pictures I can fucking show you. What am I doing? Look, it's a repercussion. Okay, so right now we're in this area. Right. Right now we're in this area programming for any occurrences that might happen here. And the reason why we're focusing on one room area at a time is because once we have all the building blocks set up, we can then move on to... Alright, so this is the church. This is what the church's map looks like. It's going to have Resident Evil style locks, puzzles, and shit. So like this door can't be unlocked unless you have the key for it, and it's going to be like shaped like diamonds and shit, because I'm so creative. So this area will not have cameras that the player can interact with, right? But then, I haven't drawn these parts yet because I haven't gotten that far, but when you reach the top area, or the section that hasn't been identified yet, the laboratory, when you reach the laboratory, there'll be cameras so you can actually watch monsters walk around. Like, I hate the fact that I'm inspired by this, but Five Nights at Freddy's has the ability to watch monsters walk around cameras, and I want the laboratory to not be a Five Nights at Freddy's situation. Instead, what's going to happen is I'm going to use the camera idea to let you, the player, see what's ahead of you. Whether or not you can only access this ability from terminals or a pocket device that you later on get will be determined by me and how I feel the story progresses. But at this moment, that's what's going on. And I'm having frickin' this dude debug my shit for me. He's helping me debug. And this shit is fucking ludicrous, my god.